Coming up next, I'm giving y'all this prison story about the time a Chomo got tortured. Stay tuned to the Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show.
It's JS Corner from the prison story massacres. I be telling stories about the pushers and the traffickers, trying to keep the YNs away from the bandits. Don't eat the honey bun, don't drink the coke, don't become another victim or the butt of a joke. Don't close both eyes when you sleep or get choked. When you go to the mess hall, sit with your team, cause if you sit with some punk boy, you can get seen.
Please stop hitting me. Please stop hitting me. I'm not a Chomo. I swear I'm not a Chomo. I didn't mean it. Oh, stop. Oh, stop. What up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Now, today, I got a crazy story for y'all. This one is about a Chomo that begged for his life in prison. A white boy named Garrett, he molested his own niece, and they dropped him in a Latin King pod. And Officer Hernandez was known for setting marks up. He already gave the guys in the pod the lowdown on this inmate coming in tomorrow. And yeah, of course, he told him, yeah, he got super bad charges, and y'all need to max him out. Now, for y'all that don't know, that means get all his money and put him through hell. So, a couple of my homies that told me most of the story start plotting on him. Now here we go. Wednesday morning, new inmates, or as some of them are referred to, fresh meat. Now, Kings run this pod. They already put the word out, hands off the Chomo. He gonna be the pod slave. But they just want him scared, not hurt. Well, at least not for now. And sidebar, let me ask y'all a question. Get in the comment box and tell me, do y'all all agree prison is supposed to be a punishment? And if so, when the judge sentences you to state prison, he knows full well the dangers in front of you. You know what I mean? So he sent plenty of 18, 19, 20-year-old young men to prison and went home and slept like a baby. Do y'all think they prosecuted and sentenced based on the average amount of abuse the person will endure? Let me know. Let me know what y'all think. I'm just thinking again, y'all. Don't mind me. Anyway, back to Garrett. Now, Garrett walks in the pod. He's a weird looking guy. Definitely Chomo material. Skinny white dude with red cheeks. Shirt tucked in. State pants neat and clean. Thick bifocal glasses, and always got a ridiculous smile on his face like it was stuck on there or something. Real creepy. Now, Kings had already set his cell assignment up, and they made sure he was going to be in lockdown with a trusted soldier. So, I'm guessing he had strict instructions to only apply pressure to Garrett. Don't make him hit the gate. You know what I mean? So, soon as Garrett got in the cell, homeboy jumped on him. Gave him the rundown real quick. Ain't no company in this cell. I keep it clean. No drugs up in here. When the white sheet is up, you stay out. Period. Oh, and one more thing. When you piss, you gotta sit down so you don't splash. And he just walked out the cell. Didn't even give him a chance to ask questions or even talk. He just bounced on him. Now at this time, Garrett has no idea that everybody in the pod already knows his charges. Everybody already know he had Chomo. And he just thinking that nobody knows. That's why nobody said nothing or did nothing to him. So he thinking he in the clear. Well, mind you, y'all, everybody in this pod pretty much speaks Spanish except for Garrett. Now, there was a group of people hanging out on the outside of the cell. Excuse me. And the cellmate went to the end of the cell and they start speaking in Spanish. And I'm going to interpret pretty much what he told me they said. They was busting his chops, you know, joking with him. And they said in Spanish, they said, "Yo, have you spoke to your girl yet?" What they really meant was, "Have you spoke to the Chomo yet?" And he was like, no, not yet. Hold on. Because, you know, he didn't want them to mess things up. So he was like, all right. They fell back. Because once he, you know, spoke to him and has the confrontation that he will have, then, you know, they're expecting him to know what it is at all given times. He got to fall in line. Now, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I want y'all to get this story before y'all click off. So let's get right into it. Now, Garrett, he didn't have a clue that it was people in the pod plotting on him. The Kings had the word out on him. Y'all already know that. Now, I'm not going to list and name any of the Kings in this situation. Those are my homeboys. I rock with them. I ride with them. Shout out to all of 5. You know what I mean? You rep that 5, that's what it is. I bet. Now, Garrett's cellmate, you know, he was just pressing. Yo, so what you in here for, man? What you in here for? And Garrett, you know, beating around the bush. He don't want to really pull the paperwork out. You're like, hey, you got paperwork? Let me see your paperwork, man. Oh, man, you know, everybody do it. He's like, yeah, they told me I ain't had to do that. They told me I shouldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, you know, but if you don't do that, then it look crazy. It look like you in here for some bad charges if you don't show your paperwork. So Garrett like, look, man, just leave it alone, man. Just leave me alone, man. Like, damn, I might have to get out this cell because I don't feel comfortable with you bothering me all the time. So now immediately, King, he like, what you trying to say? He pressing up on him hard now. He all up in his face. What you trying to say? You scared? You scared? Man, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down. You gonna tell me why you in here. You gonna tell me. Now, Garrett is getting pressed. Every lockdown, every chance homeboy get to press him, he pressing him hard. And Garrett all but pissing his pants. I mean, this dude is just scared. He's scared shitless. And I don't know how he ended up in jail. Well, let me correct that. I do know how he ended up in jail because he's a Chomo. But he should have thought of all that before he started touching kids. Period. I'm sorry. I have no compassion when it comes to Chomos. They get what they get. And that's just all that it is. So, After a few nights of getting hard pressed in the cell and being made uncomfortable, and Officer Hernandez made sure it wasn't going to be no pod changes. He right exactly where he need to be, because they fitting teach him a lesson. And, well, a lot of things get swept under the rug, people. A lot of times, officers turn a blind eye to violence. Either because A, you done paid them off, B, they too lazy to do the paperwork, or C, they just straight up don't care about you, your life, or what goes on in this pod. It's a job. It's a day-to-day job for them. And they just in it for the money. So when it come down to it, if you not signing a check, or they could care less if you live or unalive. Remember that, YNs. Remember that. Now, Garrett's walking on eggshells through the pod, and he's scared as hell. You can see it in his eyes. He's scared. He's never been in a situation like this before, where he has to defend himself or stand up for himself. He's always been the guy that's in the corner quiet, looking like a creep, staring at somebody's child. So for him to walk around a bunch of grown men staring at him like he's the child, oh, he's scared. Now, they didn't let this man make any moves on the prison. They wouldn't even let him use the microwave. He couldn't even go out the big yard because people kept, threatening him. Like, hey, man, you better stay off that yard, man. You better stay off that yard. Somebody gonna do something to you. Now, it's pretty evident that everybody in the pod knows his charges at this point. Now, every interaction that he has with somebody, well, could potentially be violent. Garrett decides he's just gonna stay in the pod and stay to himself. And maybe that'll work. But nah, that's not gonna work. You can't hide in a pod. It's just too open. There's no way possible. Unless you're in a single man cell that you can go in there and lock in all day long. Well, shit, you might as well be in lockup if you're going to do all that. Just don't make sense. Now, once everybody actually officially was on board and knew what Garrett did, as soon as commissaries start coming in, Garrett started getting robbed left and right. And it wasn't like, now, they could have had somebody come and take the whole bag. But what they did was even more diabolical. They let more than 10 inmates come in and rob him back to back. So, put it this way. One guy will walk in the cell. And now, you're not even supposed to walk in somebody's cell. First of all, that's disrespect. But he'll walk in the cell and be like, yo, let me get them smokes. And if he even stuttered, if he took more than a minute to pass it over, I think he felt the tension in the air. He was about to get his jaw checked. Well, that robbery scenario happened 10 times or better, to the point where he ain't have not one piece of commissary left. Not even a stamp. Now, this man has to rely on the mess hall. But guess what, y'all? They're not going to let him eat there either. You heard what I said. They have strict instructions to put him through hell. Put him through hell. Get as much as you can out of him and put him through hell. He will pay. He will suffer. Now this might seem a little petty. Some meals that they serve in the mess hall are barely edible, y'all. But for somebody that's hungry and doesn't have something, oh, you're going to eat it. You're going to eat that shit in the shingle. You're going to eat, the dry-ass vegetables or chicken tender that they might give you. Shit look worse than a lunch you would get in 8th grade. Yeah. You can get a Lunchable that look better than what they getting in prison. They'd be happy for a Lunchable. Now, one inmate saw Garrett go up and get his plate and sit down at a table. Not 1 second after he sat down, another inmate came and grabbed his whole tray, tossed it on the floor. All the food all over the floor. And spit on it. So Garrett wouldn't have any bright ideas of scooping it up off the floor. Now, you know, once you lose your plate, that's it. You're not getting another one. The CO's got a certain count, certain amount of plates to come through, and it is what it is. You ain't getting another plate. You're going to starve until dinner. And hopefully the same thing don't happen at dinner. But with Garrett's luck, you know it did. They taking dinner. Now, dinner is normally a decent plate. That's the last meal of the night. You talking about they serving us around 6 or 7 o'clock p.m. for dinner. And you're supposed to rely on your commissary to get you through to the next day. You know, you go hook up with guys in the pod, make a big swole, all that. But nah, Garrett, his ribs was touching. His stomach was growling. This man was hungry. And ain't nobody give a shit. Now, this was the most entertainment that pod had in months. I mean, normally, you know, fights go down, people get robbed, all types of nonsense. But it's not very entertaining. It's normally just business, you know. But this guy, they were having fun with him. The CO let it be known they could do whatever they wanted to him and not get in trouble. So they was doing petty things like taking his clothes and stealing his state boots where he had to wear his flip-flops around the pod if he was going to go around. But like I told y'all, Garrett was too scared to come out of his cell. Even when that cell door popped open, he did not leave that cell. What he gonna leave for? He ain't had no friends. He ain't had no food. He ain't had nobody to call. He was stuck in there with the monsters. Now, the last incident that happened to Garrett in this pod, and this is where Garrett's prison trip went left and totally diabolical. So one evening, Garrett was sitting in there in the bunk, and I'm gonna give you this guy's name because this is only a nickname, but this guy's name was Big Juice, and Big Juice was huge. He walked in the cell. He ain't want no commissary. He ain't want nothing. But what he did want was the bed. And what you mean? How you gonna move the bed? Nah, he ain't want the actual bed. He wanted the pillow and the mattress and the covers. So he walked in there as Garrett's laying on the bunk. He grabs the thin mattress and he pretty much, you know how somebody pulls a tablecloth off of a table? That's kind of what he did. He pulled the mattress right from under Garrett. Bam! Garrett hit the metal. He's like, oh, what's going on, man? What you doing, man? That's my bed, man. That's my bed. And Big Juice like, man, shut up. Shut up. It's my bed now. I'm taking it. I need an extra mat. See how big I am? I need an extra mat. And a pillow. And your covers. He said, man, but it's cold in here, man. I need a mat. I can't lay on this bed with no mat. It's just metal. As soon as he started opening his mouth to talk back to Juice, well, from what Juice told everybody, because it was only them two in the pod, and in the cell rather, Juice beat the shit out of him in that cell. He just started teeing off on him like a gorilla. You know how an ape just goes ape shit on somebody, starts beating their chest, and after that, you know it's about to be bad. Well, he started grabbing that man and putting hands and feet on him in that cell, stomping him out, punching him all in his face, jacking him up in that cell. He picked him up and he tossed him on the top bunk and said, you better stay there. You better not get off that bunk. If I see you in the pod, if I walk by this cell and I see you out of that bunk, I'm going to beat your ass again. Chomo. So now, Garrett in there shivering. Think he done got one of his teeth knocked out. He crying. He bleeding. He's in there in disbelief that that just happened to him. But Big Juice ain't give a damn about none of that. He don't care about your feelings. You should have thought about that before you came to prison for touching little kids, Chomo. Now, you lucky. Ain't nobody unalive you in this pod. But I guess you could say it wasn't luck, because they was playing with him. They wasn't trying to unalive him. They was trying to torture him. And y'all might come for me in the comment box, y'all, but you know what? The way I feel, the way I see it, if you a Chomo, you deserve whatever you get. Whether it be torture, whether you get unalived, whether you get beat down and robbed, whatever the case is, you did the crime, now you gonna do the time. For real, for real. It ain't no taking nothing back. You can't take back the drama that you put a child through. So guess what? Ain't nobody taking back the trauma that you gonna go through. And when they done with him in that pod, well, the next pod that he gets moved to, y'all could have already guessed it. C-pod with all the booty bandits. That will be Garrett's next stop. Because, if he thought he was going to get away easy, you thought you was going to touch children and nobody was going to touch you? Nah. We got a whole prison full of grown-ass booty bandits. And as soon as you get dropped into that pod, it's lights out, Garrett. You might as well put the lipstick on now. Because you already know what's about to happen to you. So, y'all, that is exactly what happened. After they noticed Garrett was all lumped up and he wasn't going to be able to live in this pod anymore, because everybody knew exactly what he was into, they took him on down to C-pod. And when he got to C-pod, word is Booty Bama Bang Bang and the Punisher both had their way with him at the same damn time. Triz action, y'all. Having a triz ran on you in prison is crazy work, but it happens, y'all. Chomos get their manhood taken immediately. No confrontation can stop that. There's nothing anybody can do to stop a booty bandit from taking a Chomo's ass. Listen, y'all, that's going to be the end of this story. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for more. Keep coming back. Hype these videos, y'all. Somebody need to hear them. As usual, this is the Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show. I am your boy, Jersey Street Corner, and I'm out.